Hello, this is Truth Be Told Transformation, and I'm Bonnie Burkert, here to share tools for transformation to live your highest truth. Dream on, dream until your dreams come true, sang Aerosmith once upon a time. And I think there's so many great ways to look at a saying like that and really what our dreams are. But I want to bring on an expert to talk to us more about that. Welcome, Machiel Klerk.
Thank you, Bonnie. It's such a pleasure to be here and to venture with you into the world of dreams and wherever it will take us.
Dreamy indeed. So let's double check that we just went through the pronunciation of Machiel's name. How am I doing?
You do the CH really well.
Well, I have a little German background, and Machiel is a Dutch descendancy by way of South Africa and currently in Mexico City. And I love bringing that up because one of the things that we'll start with before going into some of your suggestions for dream techniques is your research and your global research into shamanic techniques that really rely and help promote and educate through dreaming. So let's talk about your background and research, how you came to learn so much about dreaming.
Yeah, it started in my early 20s when I started reading Carl Jung, who gave me a clue on how to work with the dreams. And I think Carl Jung is the great Western shaman who, together with Freud, but Jung really put the dreams back at the heart of psychotherapy and in general with a way to navigate through life. Most shamans have a connection to the dream world. And then from there, my exploration continued. I was born in South Africa, returned to South Africa, met up with local healers who would throw the bones for me. That's their local divination technique, and said, actually, you're one of us. You're also a healer. And we want to learn, we want to teach you this technique. So I worked with them for years, and they taught me how to contact, throw the bones, but also how they work with dreams. I traveled through Asia a year with the backpack, and then everywhere I was, I would talk with people about their dreams. So that is the start of my lifelong exploration to connect with people and how they work with and are in touch with the other worlds.
Yeah, perfect. Let's stay in Africa for a minute. Throwing bones, that's very, very interesting to me. So you must have been quite young, and how fortunate that you were to connect in that way. So kudos to you to following your dream, your path, your notion about learning about this. So, and then you mentioned Asia. So what are you seeing as differences between the two cultures, or do you see more similarities as far as interpreting dreams and working with dreams?
The basic shamanic worldview lies is in both continents. So the basic notion that you have this world and a parallel other world that is inhabited with ancestors and spirits, and that the dream is just one manifestation of the other world that we visit at night that actually doesn't really disappear when we wake up. It just continues to coexist next to this world, and we're interconnected. Those are big similarities between Asia and Africa. And then in some forms that I encountered in Asia are ways in which people use dreams not only to explore for what does it mean, but also about the nature of reality. So they move into the dream, become lucid in the dream. That's a dream in which you know that you're dreaming, and then start to know, how is this dream world a co-creation between my own thoughts and expectations, or my own karma, and a larger awareness. And in that way, dreams can be, in some of these traditions, a way to enlightenment. And I haven't seen that way of working with dreams anywhere else in the world, besides in some parts of Asia.
That is truly interesting. Yeah, I have to admit, when I think of Eastern philosophies, I don't think about the dream work as much as I would with, say, Central American or, potentially African, which is something I haven't explored as much. So you're in Mexico right now, tiptoeing your way towards Central America. So does that creep in as well in your current life and your education?
Not so much yet. I hope it will. I've only been here for 4 months, so I'm hopeful I will meet indigenous healers and learn about the more indigenous traditions, because they're so rich on working with dreams. Where we in the West have developed many great things, but dreams have become a marginalized activity. Interest, and the other cultures, it was at the heart of their existence.
Oh, yeah. Wow. That's a beautiful statement. And it's true, because I think, I was even making fun of a pop song, dream until your dreams come true. And that dreaming almost is for the people that aren't necessarily feet on the ground, getting things done, right? You're daydreaming, you're dreaming of what you could be rather than taking action. So you're right. There might be a little bit of a negative charge around dreaming in our current world. So I'm glad that you bring that in and really invite us to explore the possibilities that exist with our consciousness around dreaming.
Yeah, and in our Western traditions, it's very hard for people to consider their dream as a real experience. Very often it's like, oh, it was just a dream, or it was nothing, or I'm happy it didn't really happen. And this is real life, and dream life is as if that is not a real life, where actually the dream world is a real world that we visit at night. And we have all kinds of experiences and can meet deceased ancestors or spirit guides or characters that give us information. And it can be life transforming, and many exploration of many inventions come from the dream. But in the West, we tend to think about dreams as not real, and this reality is very real, where I actually think that both realities are equally real.
It's great. It's a beautiful invitation, for sure. I want to share a story. I have to make sure my friend is watching. Her name is Machiel, and she had a big dilemma. She couldn't figure out how to get her jeans over these tall boots that she wanted to wear. They were like knee-high boots, and she was just in such a quandary. And she said that she had a dream at night how to pull that off. That you put your boot into the pant leg first, and then you put your through. It was really, I still to this day use that technique whenever you've got the skinny jeans and the groovy boot combo that you're trying to pull off. But that is a crazy example of what you're trying to share with us, that there are solutions that can be given to us.
Yes, it also shows that dreams will show and help with things that are really important to us. So for your friend, this was a really important thing. Other people might think, oh, what does it matter? But dreams, we can ask dreams questions. We will have support for anything that's relevant to our life process. So whether it is finding a partner, eating healthy food. Paul McCartney got a song Yesterday in his dream. Stephen King develops many of his books, plots in his books based on dreams. A Nobel Prize has been won based on a dream. The largest oil field in Kuwait was found because someone had a dream and took it serious and went to the local sheikh at that time and shared the dream, and they started drilling there.
Incredible.
So dreams have always been almost like a way for creativity and healing to come into our lives. And if we start paying attention to it, everyone will have it, and everyone will see sooner or later that you can have creative support, spiritual support, meet the ancestors. It will all happen in the dream time.
Yeah, there's definitely many stories. I've got some good stories about dreams that I've told on other shows. One that I don't think I've told is that I was driving in the car and I was listening to a radio show that was a religious show, and the man was saying, ask Jesus into your life. And so I I just said it because I'm sitting at a red light and I just said, Jesus, come into my life. I wasn't really thinking that much. This is not typically the kind of show that I'd be listening to. It was really just flipping the dial. So anyway, I said it just because the guy on the radio said I should. I went home and had the most vivid dream about Jesus. And he was hugging me and he had really soft hair. And I was, the most important part of this is how I felt the next morning. I mean, I was lit. It was crazy. I was so elated from that experience in the dream. So
that is a beautiful experience. Thanks for sharing. And I also think it fits in this larger sense of when we reach out to the other world has a tendency to respond. And of course, we need to figure out what do we ask, because the other world is not like the genie in Aladdin that it only provides whatever we want. It's not a wish-fulfilling spirit, but if we ask it for support, or even Jesus come into my life, and then at once at night you have a beautiful dream, you get hugged, you feel well the next day. It's a great way by which your own soul responds and comes to you, and then you can continue to nurture that relationship. And I want to encourage anyone that watches or listens to this to try tonight to ask their dream a question for something that's relevant to their life.
All right. Well, do you want to talk to us now? You're a psychotherapist, and so part of that, I think, would be a proper framing of such a question. So I've never had psychotherapy before, but I would imagine that there would be a line of questioning and self-talk that you help people through, right, when you're working with somebody?
Yes.
And by doing so, you can better frame that question when you go to sleep at night to have an experience.
Right. It starts by identifying what is alive in me. And so if people just take a moment and notice, well, what is currently alive? Have I been thinking about the argument with my partner? Or am I wondering how can I lose weight? Or how can I grow my business? Or why am I so anxious? Or I'm horribly depressed, and how can I get out of it? Notice what is alive.
Okay.
And go to, if it's multiple things, go to the thing that has the most energy to it, because that is the question that will most likely be most effective or generate the best response. And sometimes it takes a little bit of courage, because you might be thinking, "Oh, am I in the right relationship?" Well, if that is the question that is alive, and it doesn't want to go away, then in a certain way it needs to be addressed. And what you these days very often, so that's this first step. Notice what is alive and write it down. And then formulate a question. You can do that by writing a question. You can also use it as an embodied sense. Like maybe I did once that I was depressed, and then I just felt the depression, and I noticed where in my body I could feel it, and it was in my legs, and the energy was just flowing out of it. And then I took that into the dream, and told the dream, how can I work this? How can I heal this? And then I had a helpful first step in a longer journey of working myself out of that. But anyone can either write a question or do an embodied experience of the state you're in. And if you do a question, always do one question at a time, because otherwise you don't know what the dream is responding to, and create an open question. So it could be better is, what does it look like for me? Or just like people do with the tarot, how does it look like to do this? Or something open. So that is the starting point of asking your dreams for help.
Okay, that's helpful. That's good. So let me ask you a distinction, perhaps there is none, between a prayer and asking that question of your dream?
In itself, the technique works across the board. It is ask and you shall receive. And whether you ask your dream or you ask directly to that to your higher power or your spirit guide, you will get a response. The advantage of the dream is that you will have a relatively compact response that you can write down and work with. Because maybe if I would ask now, how can I grow my business so that it benefits more people, then I might have an intuition, but I might not take it. I might not trust it. Mm-hmm. But if I ask my dream and I got the dream, I have an experience that I know. Oh, at least I know this is what I experienced, and I'm not making it up, and then I can work that. So that is an advantage, but a prayer or just asking in this reality will all work and will all, the universe responds.
Yeah. Well, and I also think that perhaps sometimes when praying, a lot of people are focusing on, I need more help with my business. That was an example you just used. And I need help. So that's kind of focusing on the lack, right? Mm-hmm. Versus I'm going to sleep, and in my sleep, I am requesting guidance how to grow my business. So I'm going to call out a distinction between the two and just ask you to, weave that in, and knowing better how the human mind works. I think that I invite people, again, tools for transformation. So we're transforming the way we ask. And
yes,
even how we're looking.
The asking is indeed really important, and coming from the place of lack or that very needy place, which is very understandable, but it's also probably more fun and enjoyable to think about the collaboration with the universe, and to see the universe as a friend.
Yeah.
And so, hey, I'm working here on this business, and this is actually a really good time for you to show up, universe, because we want to reach people and bring them, whatever the service is, we want to bring them healthy ice cream or a great party or a good book, whatever it is. And then say, I would like to have a good suggestion, or how do you think, universe, that we can best reach these people? So you build a friendship and a relationship with the universe, and that's then you also in the day-to-day time have a different experience of being in the world.
Oh, that's so good. Thank you so much. I know when I get into bed, I always say, "Good friend bed." That's going right. So that kind of takes that little, joke I say all the time to another level. Like, you're in there, you're snuggled in, you're relaxed, you're neutral, able to receive. Mm-hmm. So, well, I tried last night, and I asked some questions, because I watched one of your interviews, and I'm going to play around with this. Now, you've written a book to help people with the techniques, the further techniques, and it is called Dream Guidance. Is that right? Yes.
That's right. Yep.
So tell us a little bit about what goes on in there, because you've got some steps, and that is steps towards dream incubation, correct?
Yes. Dream incubation is the old technique that we actually kind of talked about, where you ask your dream a question before you go to bed in order to get a helpful dream.
Okay.
And a couple of things I've learned over the years that are really important is ask the right question, what we did, but also ask one question at a time. If you ask multiple questions, you don't know what in the dream refers to what. Mm. And ask questions that are emotionally relevant, and then usually what helps is pump it up with some form of a ritual.
Okay.
So treat it as if you're meeting this wise old friend, and that you ask for and that you spend some time on it. Make a drawing, sing a song, light a candle, meditate for 1 to 5 or 30 minutes, and then bring it in. And then you will see that basically the universe appears to be interested in helping and educating. So it's not gonna exactly, if I say, oh, I want a Ferrari, then it magically a Ferrari appears. But if I would figure out, if I say I want to bring my gift or service to more people, then the universe seems to be interested in helping, because it itself is my gift, and it's all our gifts, and it wants to realize itself, and then it comes forward and starts helping. And of course, we get a dream, and half of the dreams we understand, and the other half is we need to puzzle on, and we can talk a bit about that. But that's that's another step in the journey. But the first part of the journey is ask something relevant to your life, one question at a time, and engage in a ritual.
So in one of your other interviews I heard, you made an interesting distinction between working with divination tools such as a tarot card and really getting information this way. And your response was, and I'll let you jump in here if you want, but I'll let me just say the response that I heard. That was a big aha for me. And that was, if you're working with those cards, they can be very revelatory, no question. However, it may not give you specifics.
Right.
Right. So jump in on that, please.
Well, I did a while a little test with the people on dreams, and once we asked the dream, what is one type of food that is good for me to eat? And so one person would dream that she needed to drink more water. Mm-hmm. And another person found herself at a fish market in the dream and concluded that she needed to eat some fish. And so those are personalized responses to an inquiry that the tarot cards can't give. Okay. If you ask the tarot card, what's one thing is good for me to eat, or what is one thing I can do to love myself more deeply, you get one of the 64 cards, and it's in pattern, and it can be helpful, but it's not as specific as if you visit the inner doctor, who can say, well, in your life, what would help you really well to love yourself more deeply is, and then come with an answer of how you can deal with your lack of self-esteem, or how one woman who asked this question saw herself giving away all kinds of money to people, and then that the dream said that she was important too, and that she could keep some for herself. Those are very specific dream responses to a question. Yeah, excellent.
Take note, everyone, because this is really an opportunity to know the inner healer, right? The inner guide. That's what you're inviting us to.
Yeah.
To explore. So, gosh, there's so many questions. I'm going to go to the question of Western studies in psychology and psychotherapy. I mean, tell me, again, you came up through some really indigenous, ritualistic, shamanistic practices, and yet you did go to school to learn more formally the Western study of the mind. So why don't you tell me the mashup and your takeaway between the two? I mean, what's your experience as you cross into both worlds?
Well, I'm very happy. I also have a Western education, and I'm a psychotherapist as well. And I think in our Western tradition, the psychotherapy is usually aimed at a series or a longer period of being with a person that the indigenous cultures usually don't have. You go with all kinds of problems to the shaman, and then very often get prescribed a ritual in which you find some form of healing. But we in the West we find therapy as a journey, where you sit with a therapist that can listen well, that can reflect, that can help you understand what the emotions are that are going on, how to connect with the emotions. And I think it's and I've experienced in my own life, it's a very valuable journey to get really in touch with your own feelings and thoughts, and notice how your complexes are playing out. And that takes a journey with a dedicated person that can show up and listen and ask good questions. And that the indigenous cultures don't have that. And maybe also because traditionally in those cultures, it was so much more a community, and a sense of purpose and a meaning was built into the structure, that they didn't need it as much as we need it. But it's a very helpful way of working through grief or anxiety that the West has developed.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, absolutely. And you do work with patients. We can we can find you. Go ahead and give us your website for anyone that's listening.
Yes, it's machielklerk.com, and I will spell it MachielKlerk.com.
Great. And for anybody that's not watching on YouTube, come on over to our YouTube channel for further details and to catch this show. So I would like to talk to you again. It's very interesting to look at. I'm not going to say East versus West. I mean, you could, but it's again, you've got the Africa and traditions and things like that. So what would you say the distinction is between the shamanic journey and asking for information from our dreams?
Well, they're in a certain way an overlap. The shamanic journey usually is characterized by a person going into the other world. Mm-hmm. And that can be from this world, that you enter the other world, by which you get in touch with your spirit guides or your angels or ancestors, and the shaman has usually the ability to do that voluntarily and can move in and out. It very often starts with an illness where they break open, get in touch with the other world, and then have an ability to move up and down at will on behalf of usually their community or their clients. And in the dream incubation and entering into the dream world is something we all do at night. And there we also get in touch with states of consciousness or figures that can support us on our life path. So it's another form of accessing the other world, but it's easier accessible to anyone because everyone dreams, whether we remember it or not. We all dream. And we can all access dreams at night for help. So it's a tool that is available to all of us, whether we have a really refined talent to do this at will during the day.
Yeah, I would say. I mean, my experience with shamanic journeying is. You're definitely in an altered state, but you're still participating. I mean, mm-hmm. I find, right, that you kind of take yourself down there, like you're listening to the music and you prompt yourself down, and it kind of takes off. I've had a number of experiences, and it kind of takes off. But then when you're whoever's keeping the rhythm of the drum helps bring you back, so you're participating. Versus in a dream. Now, I've had other conversations about lucid dreaming that you can place yourself in the dream, but the dream you dive in, you set an intention, but then down you go, right? And off you go, ideally. But you're not participating unless you're probably next level practitioner of lucid dreaming.
Well, you are actually, the nuance is you are participating, but you're not really aware that you are participating.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, your mind. This crazy thing is, during your dream, your mind is awake because otherwise you see the crocodile and you get scared and you run. and that's all you respond to that. You're in a dream. It's not a movie you watch, but you're not aware that you're in the dream state. And so your participation is very instinctual. You don't, if you knew it was a dream, you would do all kinds of other things.
Okay. Yeah. Yes.
But you're totally right about the shamanic journey. It's going down, and then most shamanic journeys, people remain some form of awareness where they proactively can engage and can ask. On a certain moment, you meet your spirit animal or whatever your journey entails, and you can engage and you remember some of that, and you can take it back with you to your regular waking life.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'll share an experience. One of the first times I ever did that, I was told what to do. So I will encounter the spirit animal. These things are going to happen. And then, whatever, there was a lot to know. And I'm thinking that I'm going to be guided along the way. I didn't know that it's just nothing but drums the entire time. And it took off. I mean, the whole story unfolded. So I'm here to let our listeners know, yeah, there's possibilities. And I'm not some sophisticated practitioner. I mean, I'm always trying to figure things out, but it's there for us. And hey, I told you a dream story about Jesus, and hopefully I'll be able to share some other stories about specific answers I have, like, wardrobe challenges. So I think that's great, and I do hope Machiel listens to that story from decades ago. She's going to laugh on that one. So, Machiel, one of the things I like to ask is just kind of, I mean, we're doing the show because we're really looking to tap that conscious community, right? And sort of some words. And where do you think we are in 2023 with things? I mean, we're more digital than ever. People are watching, listening to the show digitally. How's our psyche? What's going on? I mean, I feel like we're able to learn more than ever, and yet we're that much more overloaded. And can we calm ourselves properly to have some of the experiences we're discussing? So what's up with humankind right now in your purview?
Well, that is a really big question.
It is.
So at one hand, I echo the thoughts you share of we're in a massive transition. At one hand, structures are breaking down, political structures, economic structures, companies. It looks like nature is rapidly changing. So the world is changing in a big way. People have become very polarized. Politics has become extremely polarized. So in a lot of challenges. And on the other hand, technology has provided some of the goodies from the gods. We have access to some of the best spiritual teachers that currently are alive, or recordings of them. We have access to all kinds of wisdom traditions and books that 100, 200, 300 years ago wasn't as widely available. So, at one hand, we're showered in opportunities for personal and spiritual development and awareness practices, and on the other hand, we're in a massive, dangerous phase as a planet where we have the chance to self-destruct. Whether it's some war breaks out and people throw an atom bomb, and that would be the end of it, or so we're in a massive transformation, and I hope that we all connect to the depths of our own being and center and give our gifts and maneuver through these times.
I couldn't agree more, and thank you, because somebody doing the work that you're doing invites us all to pull back in and contemplate a life other than this 3D existence that can be full of challenge. It can be full of beauty as well. I mean, there's sunsets and chocolate. So, I mean, what would we do without those? But that aloha. So, but at the same time, I think that the work that you're showing us really helps us know that there is more to it, and it's very individual, and yet it can be also helping the greater collective.
Yes, and it is very it's such a rewarding, like you met Jesus in the dream, and that you just know that you have the experience of, oh, there is something that is supportive in the universe. You ask the question, then you have a very helpful sacred figure showing up.
Yeah.
And to have that experience, to be in this world that there is support for our journey, because life is really troublesome from time to time, and to know you're not alone, there's help, and you can reach out for the help, and that the universe responds. And if you find your own way to asking, you become a team. Then you and the universe are a team engaging in the life journey, and life becomes a little bit easier, and definitely the adventure of life opens up.
Co-creation, right? Oh, I didn't tell you about that Robert Plant dream I have. Oh, we'll do that the next show. No, it was really great. So tell us a little bit more work that you're doing, how people can find you. I mean, we mentioned the website, but do you do workshops? I know you're writing. You've got a website with information for people to share, videos out there. So anything else you'd like to let people know so that they can find you?
Yes, thank you. There's I do an in-person workshop in Esselen on August 25 to 28 of this year.
Great.
People can go to the Esselen website, and then they can enroll there. Together with my friend Christy, we developed a dream guidance box. Mm-hmm. You can find that at dreamguidancebox.com. And it is the process and all kinds of tools to really help a person ask a great question, have the rituals there to invoke and response. And especially for big questions around health or creativity, relationships, it's a help. And out of a dream, a nighttime dream, I started a company, Jung Platform, Jung Platform. And there we create online courses for the general audience on psychology, spirituality, especially Carl Jung, on shadow work and synchronicity, with all kinds of indigenous cultures like African shamanism. We have some great African shamans doing a course, so people can find something there. Or that's in a nutshell some of the activities that I do and have.
Excellent. And again, your book is called Dream Guidance, and that is out on Hay House. So so many great opportunities, and congrats on Esselen. I've always wanted to take a course up there, so who knows, maybe a road trip is in order, but that's going to be great. And I love that you're, again, inviting people to work with. You don't have to go to shamans in South America to figure this out. I mean, we've got medicine right here inside of us every night, or whenever it is that we take a rest and dare to relax and get into neutrals. So wonderful work. Thank you so much for sharing with us.
Thank you, Bonnie. It was a pleasure to be with you.
We'll see you again soon. Thanks for listening and watching, everybody. Truth Be Told is here to, again, raise the vibe. Tony Sweet is on every Friday at 3 p.m. Live, so the community gathers and asks some very hard questions with really interesting guests. And Robert Hensley is on Mondays, and we've got Metaphor with new shows as well in Espanol. Again, Truth Be Told Paranormal. Be sure to share with your friends, follow if you care, and we'll see you the next time. I'm Bonnie, and thank you for being here. Namaste.